And just touch on and review the lesson of the week. And the most simplified version of it is when you weight shift to a leg, that leg needs to be not be holding or pressing down on the ground. And what I discovered in myself is, as much as I have learned to let go, there's always more to let go. And I found that the leg that I was weight shifting to, that's what this represents. As I was weight shifting to it, I was holding the leg, which is only natural because we think we have to use our muscle structures to support us. But with Tai Chi, it's more the internal structures, the muscles closest to the bone. There are muscles that are right along the bone and that cross over the ligaments that cross over the joints. And those ligaments and muscles that are so close actually can provide a lot of structure without our external muscles having to fire and work hard. And that is one of the primary goals of Tai Chi, is that we go deeper. So not only do we go deeper spiritually and mentally, but we go deeper physically. And the way we go deeper physically is by actually letting go and trusting these internal structures of our body. The fascia is not just on the top layer, it runs deep, it runs vertically as well, in simplified terms, all the way down to our deepest covering of the bone. The bone has fascia as well. So the more we can let go of our external muscles and come into the internal structures, our bones, even some practitioners talk about the bone marrow itself, the middle of the bone, then we are able to be effortless, and it allows the chi to flow, and it's more comfortable when we do to our Tai Chi. So then when we weight shift, so here is Tai Chi, Tom, and he's going to weight shift over to his, we're going to call this the left leg. If he weight shifts over here, the tendency is for us to fire our muscles, our external muscles, and hold. And what I found I was doing was actually in that process, I was pressing down. And it's from years and years of walking, we press down on the floor to launch ourselves into the next step. So what I really want you to do today is that it's just attempt every once in a while, when you pour that weight into the weight, what's called the weight-bearing leg, I want you to see how much you can soften and relax that leg. And there are different ways to go about that. So you may try different ways and see which works for you. You can think of your foot just melting down into a soft surface, like into a marshmallow, for example, so that it becomes enveloped and held, so that now you're not really pressing down on a hard surface. So that's one way of thinking about it. Another way that's very successful for me is that I put my intention at the qua. And when I can try to let go of my qua, two things happen. One, I'm stunned at how much tension I'm carrying right here at my hip joint. And secondly, when I let go here, all 24 musts seem to fall in place. So this is really the magic point of letting go, and then it allows you to go deeper into your other structures. So one, you can melt your foot into a marshmallow. Two, you can try to release here. And then the third is you can imagine that you're pouring liquid from one leg to the other as you weight shift. So if we're going to weight shift to the left, the liquid pours into the left, and as it pours into the left, rather than pouring and then coming up, glug, 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 we're going to have a hole at the bottom, maybe at the bubbling well, in fact, the bottom of your foot, and let that weight seep into the earth below you. So that might be a nice visual for you as well, in order to try to let go of that supporting leg. Okay? So we try to soften the leg that we're weight bearing on. And then you want to keep this knee pointed or flexed. You don't want it to come back. So the tendency is when we weight shift over is this leg tends to want to come back a little bit. I'll give you a profile. So if he's weight shifting towards me, then he tends to straighten this leg out. And you can see the imbalance that creates. So we weight shift over to me, and this leg almost has to bend a little bit more or send energy down this bone to the kneecap and down to the ground in front on an angle. Not when I say connect your knees to the floor or touch the floor with your knees, I don't mean straight down, I mean on this angle. So as we pour the weight into this leg, we seep into the ground, and this leg, this bone, you can imagine that this bone is growing longer as you weight shift over, not shorter. Okay? Yes, Deborah, make sure you unmute first.
Oh, I'm really interested in the softening of the quad. And can you do that standing with a straight leg, or do you need to have a bend?
Yeah, that's a great question. You can't, there's no way that I could do it with a straight leg, because the straight leg is actually creating a force upward and jamming this is called the femur. This is the head of the femur, and it's jamming it into the socket. So this is one of the main reasons why we keep our knees soft and bent, because then we have the opportunity to try to, I'm going to dislocate his hip because it's really not, I know, it's really not snapped in like that. It's a free-floating joint. So what we do is we're trying to drop that ball down so that we're creating more space from the top of this point at the bottom of the pelvis and our humeral head. That's how you're opening up the quad, is by letting go and letting this drop down. And you're letting gravity take hold for you so it just drops down. It's not falling out of the socket, mind you, but most of the time we're holding so much tension that we have it, you know, way up high. And there's no way that you could drop it down and let go in that area if your leg is straight. Then it's just jamming up into the socket. Okay. So let's try this in the most simplified way. What I'd like for you to do is, for me, I felt it first in more of a bow stance. Yep, and I have a record. So we're in bow stance. And as if we were doing brush knee, but we're just already, our feet are already positioned. So we're going to do it without our arms first. And what I want you to do is, as you weight shift, in other words, you're pouring into this leg here, then just try to melt that leg into the ground so that, and your leg is, you are weight shifting into it. So you're not back here. You have weight shifted into it. And what I'm finding is to a degree, I'm fighting myself. I'm pushing down into the earth. And what we need to do is try to let it go and try to make it soft. Yes, you'll feel the presence of pressure, but you don't want to be pushing against the pressure. Then you want to make sure that this leg bone here is lengthening. It is not shortening. If you back your knee up any amount, even a centimeter, you're shortening that and creating tension. So the more I'm weight shifting forward, the more I can let go here as well, or lengthen my knee. Then the last piece about it is that your tailbone is sinking down and your low back is expanding back. And when all of that happens, it feels pretty darn comfortable. Okay, now just try it a couple times to each side. So you get in, I'll do it facing you. If you do, we're on our back leg, that's the leg back here. So in this instance, your right leg. Now turn your dantian, and as you weight shift to the front, just soften that foot and drop your tailbone down. Lengthen this leg and just feel like your back is expanding that way a little bit. Now you can't be so, Beatrice, I feel like your stance is a little too narrow, so bring it a little, there, yes, that's it, nice. Good. And you don't have to have a big wide stance to feel this. Let's try it narrower, bring everybody, make it a little smaller, and just weight shift. In fact, I feel it better that way. Feels much more comfortable, actually. Yeah, that looks good. Deborah, very nice. Switch sides, and then a small stance. We're on our back leg, So there's a component of the turning, and then soften the front leg and lengthen the back and expand your back. Yeah, Cheryl, that looks good. Okay, so your knees should be bent. If you have to look down to look at it to get a reference to see, the tendency is for people to straighten the back leg. Okay, all right, now let's try it in a Tai Chi stance, side by side. And we're just going to rotate our dantian, our whole body. So sitting down, and rotate your body slightly to the right. And right here, I feel like I'm holding. I'm tense a little bit. So I'm going to let it go. And as I let go, I'm going to make, in my mind, lengthen this knee. And on a direct diagonal behind me, my back is expanding slightly back. And now I feel really good. It literally feels like I'm sitting in a chair. So one of the lessons here is that I have this habit to overcome. And so when I get here, the habit is there by degree, and I'm going to give myself a moment to make the change, to let go and expand back. And once I find that sweet spot, I'm going to hold it for just a few seconds so I know what it feels like. And then each time I come back to it, I'm just going to imagine what that feels like and hope that my body gets there. And if it doesn't, then I make a little change. Okay, so let's do it one more time. So as you turn, soften this foot and let go of the quad, lengthening your knee and expanding the back. And I don't know, if you watch my video really closely, you'll see my posture improve as we're doing this. I have a very interesting feedback system. When I have it right, I feel all the muscles and the fascia in the front of my body from here to here. I feel a gentle stretch. So the tension here must be translating up here. And when I'm let go, I feel this lengthening here. And that's my feedback loop. When I start to feel that lengthening, then I know I have it. So be aware of what your body's telling you. Okay, let's do it again. Now make sure, Sandy Atkins, I feel like you might be leaning back just a little bit. So just stay a little more central. Yeah, that's better. Okay, now everybody, let's try the other side. Now for me, the other side is much more challenging because I have a tight ankle and weakness on this side. So don't be surprised if one side is easier than the other. Also, I found that I was overweight shifting. I was way over here and then trying to lengthen this, couldn't do it. So now I try to weight shift a little less, a little bit more in the middle here. Let go of that quad, lengthen your knee, expand your back. And it just will feel really, really nice. So try that a couple times, just practice it. So don't be surprised if that doesn't feel right, but then once you get there, you can tweak it, kind of play with it like you're dialing it in. And then once you feel it, memorize that feeling. And then come back to center. And the next time you go for it, go for the feeling, not all of the little check boxes. Yeah, and now it must have opened up a chi channel because now my right foot is tingling like crazy in a good way. Yeah, that looks good, Beatrice. So just make sure that when we're doing it in this exercise, that as we turn our dantian to the right, our weight is more on the left. And that's where we're pouring into the ground through that bubbling well. So it's the opposite, it's a diagonal, not the same side. So Beatrice, you're facing to your left, I believe, so make sure your weight's on the right. There, that's it. Yeah, and then if you want to add your arm for the counterbalance, then it's even easier to achieve because now you have this expanding out in front of you and then it's easier to expand your back to the back corner. And for me, it's easier to let go. Make sure your arms aren't too high. Yeah, lower those arms. They're just out there. Really, they're out there as the last expression, and they're out there for your counterbalance. Okay. Yeah. So you could do brush knee with it if you wanted to. And now don't be like me and feel like you have to have this today. If you get a glimpse of how this feels, that's a successful lesson. So you see the arm that's up is your expansion forward, and your back expands to the back. Okay, so you're letting go of that left foot because your weight's on the left. You're letting go of the quad. Your right knee is lengthening forward, and your left arm is lengthening forward. That looks good, Melissa. Yeah, nice. Let's try waving hands and clouds, and then we'll do a warm-up that will include our Tai Chi movements, and then we'll work on our Tai Chi movements. Okay, so let's do waving hands and clouds. So start out with a fairly narrow stance, and we'll go to the left. And I really felt it in waving hands and clouds. As I weight shift to the left, I had the tendency to tense that leg. So soften the leg, let it melt into the ground. Oops, what am I doing here? Oh, all right, start with the wider stance. Sorry, it's kind of like we're starting mid-sentence here. Okay, here we go. So weight shift to the left and soften that left leg. That allows you to bring this foot in with greater ease. Follow through. Now, as you weight shift the right, soften that whole right leg or the right quad. Then as you turn your dantian, that takes the opposite leg out for you. So the more you weight shift, the more you soften that leg, bring the other foot in. And the same principle applies with the opposite leg. So the lesser leg, don't let that knee go back. It stays pointing forward or kissing the ground. These are subtle internal things, but they make a big difference in the comfort. So right here, there's a tendency for this leg to straighten out, like we're pushing through that leg. Well, if we do that, we're not rooted. So just let this leg go and be heavy, and then it's almost like it's stuck in mud, and you just pick it up and bring it in. One more, please. So this knee, keep it soft and bent. And back. All right. Okay. So that is what we're going to kind of be mindful of every once in a while. Let's do this. I'll put some music on. We'll do our simple Tai Chi form set. And as we do that, that's the time to, because most of you know this, that's the time for us to practice this concept. And I might be going a little slower, and that's really for my benefit, so that I can be thinking and feeling to let go, let go, let go, let go. That's it. Very nice. All right, so I'm going to turn on the music. And I am recording. Let's get in our position of Wu Ji. And Wu Ji is simple, right? So that's where we try to get a nice setup. So we let go, and that's when I'm thinking that the distance from my quad, this long bone here, is getting longer, and the bottom of my knees are kissing the ground down there. And my back's expanding slightly, my low back is expanding slightly to the back. And now I have a beautiful, nice setup. So melt my weight into the right, separate the left. That was very nice. That's beautiful. Now sinking the whole tailbone down, just in your mind, that's what floats the arms up. And then here it's just another opportunity to try to let go of the lower half of the body. Now waving hands to the left. So let go of that right leg. Now our middle section here, really good opportunity to practice letting go of the heavy leg. Waving to the right. That was nice. Okay,